Hello, my name is Trevor Bowling. I am doing a class assignment. It's a fiscal plan for this budget that I'm doing for EDU 528. So, before looking at the budget and when I was trying to figure out, what things that we need to cut and that kind of stuff, I have to think about my objectives that I want for my program. So, these are 4 objectives that I used in my fiscal plan for last week, and I also stated that I have a combination budget model. So not only do I have a school budget, but like the big ticket items that I end up having to say no to that the school would pay for, be able to be purchased through fundraising and that kind of stuff. So that's why it's important to know your goals, your kind of like your mission statement, and also what kind of budget model you're going to do in order to set your budgets. So here's a spreadsheet that I created. There were 6 sports. I did baseball, there's football, basketball, soccer, cheerleading, and theater. I felt like we had a good variety of different sports. We got the 3 major sports. We have a smaller sport like soccer, and then we have 2 activities like theater and cheerleading. So it was awesome to kind of pick through and see which ones were which, and which one, what I could keep from the list, and what maybe they will have to fundraise on their own. So we're gonna start with baseball. So baseball is the wish list that I came up with, and so on here I had a couple of necessities like game balls, practice balls, wrist coach, helmets, and then I had a couple of things like new jerseys and a pitching machine. So it was a wish list, so I went top of the line on most things. So when my wish list added up to about 10 grand, and when I was legitimately able to cut it down, so the game balls, they are what they are. You got to pay for those. Practice balls, I went with a cheaper practice ball, but was able to get the same amount. It saved us a ton of money, almost $400. The wrist coach kept the same. The helmets I cut in half and only ordered 5 instead of 10. And then the uniforms, I was able to find cheaper Under Armour uniforms than the ones that I wanted. The ones that I asked for were like top of the line, the best uniforms that Under Armour has. So I went with a cheaper brand. And then I also cut the pitching machine because I figured that we could fundraise for that. So I asked for about 10 grand and I cut it down to a little over 4. So moving on to football. The things that football is very expensive. So obviously they're going to have the biggest budget at all. That's why they have the biggest budget on here. So I ordered 9 helmets instead of 10. That saved me about $410 because helmets are pretty expensive. I took off the speed ladders. I believe he ordered 2. They're $30 a piece, so that saved us $60. I took off the shirts and shorts because they were kind of expensive. They were over $1,000. And if a kid is going to keep them, I believe that they should have to pay for them themselves. So I took those off. They saved us another like $1,000. Some of the equipment I took off, I changed the quantities. So it cut it down from almost $12,000 to $9,400, saving us about $3,000. Some cool things on here, the Huddle subscription, that is just something that every football program in America uses Huddle, so you need to have that. And another thing I thought was really cool is the Sky Coach thing, where they'll be able to like relay plays and watch video on the sideline and that kind of thing. And I think that really matches up with our player development goals that I have. I want all our programs to focus on player development, not only on the field but off the field, and this is a tool that is really going to help us on the field. So that was pretty cool. So moving on to basketball, one thing is the Coaches Association thing. That is something that the school should pay for. I do not believe that should be taken out of their budget. But if it is, I think only one coach should have to do it, because most of the time those things are for if you're wanting to nominate people for All-State or that kind of stuff. Yeah, you can go to the coaching clinic, the state coaching clinic or whatnot, but mainly it's for just being able to nominate people. So you really only need one person on staff that has their credentials so they can nominate. Other things, I took off the shooting gun. The shooting gun was $6,000. Like, I believe that is something just like the pitching machine. I believe that's a necessity that the program needs to help the development. But for the sake of this assignment, they were just too much, and I had to cut them. And because of my combination model, we can fundraise for those. So that's a big ticket item. And then there's a couple things that I had to take off. So they asked for about $10,700, and I was able to cut it down to $4,400. Soccer, I ordered 5 game balls instead of 6. That saved us $100, and I took off the goalie gloves. The goalie gloves were pretty expensive. They were like, I want to say they were like $150 for 2 pairs, and those are probably something that they need. But for, like I said, for the sake of this assignment, I'm just gonna have the player buy the goalie gloves. Cheerleading, they got everything they asked for. I mean, because you kind of need a floor mat for safety, and that was only $289, and then you need to have uniforms for them to wear. So there's really nothing that you can cut. Maybe try to find cheaper uniforms, but they seem pretty cheap with what they entail. So finally, theater. I don't really know much about theater, but they didn't ask for a whole lot, $1,700. So I just awarded them everything, and using their best judgment on what they need. I want theater and cheerleading and some of the activities that usually don't get the notoriety that, like, the football or baseball or basketball does. So I need to make them feel like they are being supported financially. So they got everything both of them got everything they asked for. So like I said, the total budget that I had to work with was $27,000. The money that I ended up spending was $26,552. So left over, I had roughly about $447 left. I wanted to have a little money left over just in case something came up, but all in all, this was pretty fun assignment. So some thoughts. Many asked for jerseys. I know the baseball program did. I know the soccer program did. I know the cheerleading program did. That's not something that is going to be like an every year thing. Those are going to run you every 4 years. So you got to be able to factor that into the budgeting model. So like their soccer is not going to ask for $4,000 every year because they're not going to get new jerseys every year. Same thing with baseball. So as an athletic director, you need to see how much money it costs to run each sport every year. I'm talking about the necessities. Like, they need to have these things. So once you figure that number out, then you can start to add more onto that so they can be able to do more stuff, like get more stuff for player development, do more things. And another thing is, like, not everything is provided. Like on my baseball budget, there's a lot of like field maintenance stuff that I didn't put on there. Like, that is just a very short wish list. And I imagine that's what some of the other sports did. They didn't put everything that they possibly need. So I'm guessing that it's going to be a lot more than $27,000. And then you also have to tell, like, what should the school pay for and what should come out of that activities budget. It just depends on what administration you have. If you have a sports-based administration, they're going to help you out quite a bit. But if you don't, then you're probably going to have to take it out of your budget, and it's not a whole lot you can give. Football gets more money. They bring in more revenue. They have a lot more players. The equipment's a lot more expensive, so it's just natural that their budget's going to be higher. Sports that have to take care of their own fields should get more money. Okay, if you're having to take out money for field maintenance, you need to have more money. It doesn't make any sense that since baseball and softball and them have to take care of their field, that they should be getting the same amount as basketball. Basketball doesn't take care of their gym. They just got to buy basketballs and jerseys and kind of some other stuff. Baseball, they got to buy seed, they got to buy fertilizer, weed killer, all that kind of stuff to take care of their field. All right, so I think sports that have to take care of their field should get more money. And that's about it. Thank you.